Support WrestleTalk!
Support each other. After Jeff Hardy was arrested for a very real DWI late last year, WWE thought, well, that certainly seems like a totally acceptable area to exploit for a pro wrestling storyline, and proceeded to book a hit-and-run angle with him 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, which opened on Elias having been hit by a car in the Performance Center parking lot for police officers who totally weren't indie wrestlers to arrest him seemingly inebriated nearby. Jeff was let go by the end of the show, in time to return to SmackDown and attack the red-headed and bearded man he believes framed him. Eric Rowan? Oh, no, right, Sheamus. But amidst all the controversy and outrage the angle has received, with many fans, CM Punk, and Jeff's own brother Matt all publicly condemning WWE using Hardy's real substance abuse issues as a storyline, the real question has been lost. Why do these things keep happening to Elias? After King Corbin attempted to murder him just before WrestleMania, pushing Elias off the Performance Center's crow's nest, the latest high-concept injury angle, which I'm now calling Fast and Furious Tokyo Drifter. Thank you, I'm here all week. Is reportedly covering up a very real injury. WWE.com has posted in a storyline update that Elias suffered broken ribs and a torn pectoral muscle from the hit-and-run angle. And Dave Meltzer has used his kayfabe-detecting spectacles to reveal the broken ribs part is a work, but the torn pec is a shoot. Brother. Elias was meant to be in the semi-finals of the Intercontinental Championship tournament, but his injury means he had to be pulled, and he'll likely be out for months, with the injury typically taking 3 to 9 months of rehab before returning to action. This is after Elias injured his ankle last September, which kept him out for 2 months. With a spot now opening up on SmackDown, perhaps WWE will bring back a very underused wrestler to replace him. In February last year, Ali was being positioned to run the gauntlet and face Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. A concussion and Kofi Mania derailed that though, and he's been struggling to find a solid position on the card since. Aside from a few dark matches and live events in February, WWE have hardly used Ali at all this year, with his one TV appearance being on the January 3rd episode of SmackDown. While he is one of the favourites to be the real identity of the long-teased hacker, he's replied to a fan on Twitter sarcastically venting his frustration about not being booked. Yeah man, it's real nice to be in your prime and wanting to use the exposure you get to bring light to serious topics, but instead forced to the sidelines for reasons beyond your control. Real nice to not be allowed to do what you're passionate about. It's quite rare in the current pandemic for wrestlers to actually want to be booked for Performance Center shows. Hot tip for Ali if he wants WWE management to notice him more going forward, get a swimming pool installed in your backyard. Zack Ryder, who now goes by his real name Matt Cardona, was fired by WWE as part of their mass releases back in mid-April. And now, on an episode of his Major Wrestling Figure podcast with Brian Myers, the also fired former Kurt Hawkins, he's revealed how WWE asked to use his swimming pool for the Otis and Mandy Rose skit on last week's SmackDown, only shortly after they'd let him go.
I'm like just sitting by the pool with Chelsea, and she like has a weird look on her face when she's checking her phone. I'm like, babe, what's up? She's like, I'll just say, someone from WWE asked me if Otis and Mandy Rose and a camera crew can come here to film a pool scene for SmackDown. Mark, I was shaking in anger.
Really?
Shaking in anger. You fired me, but you want to use my pool?
Cardona went on to say how he had a rather angry tweet written and ready to go, but cooled down before he hit send. We exclusively reported last week that Matt's real-life girlfriend, Chelsea Green, is one of the potential names to be called up to the main roster, following Matt Riddle already debuting on SmackDown, and our other exclusive that Dominik Dijakovic is likely being drafted to Raw. Because we do exclusives now, don't you know? And to add to all of this, we can reveal that there were plans for another big call-up, but those have since been scrapped. We're entering the NXT TakeOver In Your House spoiler room brawl now, which I can't believe I even have to preface. If you want to avoid spoilers, you shouldn't be on the internet right now at all. Go and watch. CM Punk returned and made a super tag team with Keith Lee. Just kidding. Velveteen Dream lost his NXT Championship match against Adam Cole, Bay. Cole retaining was rather given away by the pre-recorded match's position on the card, with the night being main evented by the terrific women's title three-way. Cole vs Dream instead took place third from top. It was speculated that whoever lost the match would soon be called up to the main roster, especially with Dream being removed from the NXT banner on WWE.com, and Wrestling Inc. reporting last week that both him and Io Shirai were being discussed for Raw and SmackDown debuts. While Shirai seems unlikely as she won the Women's Championship from the Omni Flare. WrestleTalk.com's Louis Dangoor can exclusively reveal Dream's name was discussed as a potential call-up, but will almost certainly be remaining in NXT for now. There is no word on why WWE officials changed their minds. Triple H dodged the question when asked about Dream's potential call-up on the post-TakeOver conference call last night, just saying, "We'll have to wait and see." Just over a month ago, Dream was accused on social media by an unidentified fan for sending inappropriate photos to minors. Dream denied the allegations in a rare out-of-character tweet, claiming the private photo of him was shared without his consent or knowledge, and that a third party is looking into the matter. Fightful then reported Dream had also been separately accused of smashing in the window of a car last November. There haven't been any updates on either story since late April. As for his TakeOver opponent, the still NXT champion Adam Cole, Bay, there is almost just as much confusion over his WWE future. Wrestling Inc. reported last week that Cole's WWE deal was up in August, and he is yet to re-sign a deal, meaning he could join his real-life girlfriend Britt Baker and his best elite friends forever, the Young Bucks, in AEW as early as September's All Out pay-per-view. Raja and TalkSport's Alex McCarthy, however, are both now reporting that Cole actually re-signed a 3-year deal sometime in 2019, meaning he's with WWE until 2022. But that isn't the only big news coming out of last night's NXT TakeOver. Thanks for your support on Patreon, WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez. Along with Dream, the other reported name getting called down to the main roster was Io Shirai. But going by her In Your House win, that isn't happening either. In the show's main event, Shirai captured the NXT Women's Championship for the first time in her career, beating Rhea Ripley and the Omni Flare in an excellent triple threat. She tweeted after the show, "At last I can call myself champion. When I think about the tough and painful times I was able to achieve this, largely in part to your support. I am truly grateful for everyone who gave me courage. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much." Adding, "I have nothing but the utmost respect and gratitude for WWE, who always believed I could become a champion, regardless of race or nationality. Tonight, my chance finally arrived. I don't have a tag partner, but I definitely have a wonderful family and home." Unlike any NXT Championship win or new indie signing, you better believe Triple H is lurking in Gorilla ready for his fan-pointing photo op. That means the women's champions in WWE right now are Shirai, Asuka, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Bayley again. It's a good time to be a fan. The note about race in Shirai's tweet is very timely following the death of George Floyd a few weeks ago. And unlike the current global pandemic of Steve Corino, which outside of a couple of token mentions has been kept out of the mouths of WWE commentators and talent, NXT directly addressed the worldwide protests last night, with Keith Lee sporting the words Black Lives Matter on his jacket and trunks during his North American Championship retention over Johnny Gargano. And NXT trainee AJ Foster posted on Twitter that Triple H is trying to address the situation with talent backstage as openly as possible. While somebody out here snitching to these dirt sheets about everything, somebody need to snitch that Triple H came and told us all that if we today, tomorrow, or ever want to talk to him about our feelings on Black Lives Matter, he wants to have that conversation. And he don't have to do that, and he still made sure we knew that we could. That's an ally. Hopefully no one asks him about the time he did blackface on Raw. It was the 90s! Jokes aside, Hunter and WWE should be praised for trying to change, particularly because WWE as a company have often come under fire for racism in the past. We'll have a full review of NXT TakeOver in your house with Luke Owen and Adam Blompier later today at 7 AM Pacific, 10 AM Eastern and 3 PM UK time, talking about the excellent match between Lee and Gargano, the title win for Shirai, the TakeOver debut of Karrion Kross and more. Set your reminder for the show and download the podcast version wherever you get your podcasts from. Set a reminder for that by clicking a video on the right, and Seth Rollins whispering thank you into Roman Reigns' ear when he beat him at WrestleMania 31, when Shane McMahon thanked Undertaker for throwing him off Hell in a Cell at the end of their match. Watch Adam Blompier's latest list, 11 times wrestlers secretly said thank you to each other during a match, by clicking the video underneath that. And go over to WrestleTalk.com to read our full Velveteen Dream exclusive, along with Bray Wyatt's next feud revealed, Becky Lynch's new look, and more. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.